Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Mr. Fix-It channel. Today I've got a 2003 Kawasaki KLX300 motor and it's got a bit of an issue. So let's get into this. So the problem here is drain plug. Uh-oh. This has had some issues. So what that means is we're going to split this case, pull the top end off, pull the guts out, have another part. So yeah, hate when it happens. I hope you guys can bear with my heater running in the background. You know, it's crappy out and I don't want to be cold, so hopefully that's not too much of a distraction. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm just going to scrape off as much of this loose dirt as I can. Do-do-do, do-do-do, do-do-do. Scrubbing the motor. Do-do. God, what am I doing? You guys don't want to watch this. Well, I guess the first thing I should do is get this cover taken off so I can see if I have a flywheel puller for this motor. I probably got 6 or 7 different flywheel pullers over the years. They're about 50 bucks a piece, and it seems like every few years they come up with a different one. There's some sludge in there. No. Yes. Flywheel puller 20 by 1.5 RH, which I think stands for right hand. External thread hollow. There's the part number. This is from Motion Pro. See, there's another number here, 678086. That's the puller for it. 22. And we want to drive this inward. Cool, cut that off of there. I'm just going to let the flywheel hold all the hardware to that. Let's see, let's work on getting this oil pipe off so I can get this wire out of here and get this cover out of the way. One back here, which is a 12. And now we can get this out of the way. And get rid of this gasket. Okay, I think we can take these off now. That is a 6mm Allen. Should go ahead and take the top end apart. Wow, that's almost spotless in there. Let's see, will that get on it? Yep, that's a 5/8. A little corroded down in there. Looks like it's running a little, maybe just a little rich. I think now we need to take the timing chain tensioner out. Break this one loose first. We'll have to take it off to get that out. Okay. Alright, let's go ahead and take it apart. It's got a spring behind it, so don't let it shoot out of your fingers. Go ahead and stick this all back together so we don't lose nothing. Yeah, this is on the exhaust stroke, so it's 180 degrees out from being on top dead. And I can tell that because the intake cam's about to start pushing the valves open. If I was to rotate this more, the intake would open. So it looks like it's at top dead, just on the exhaust stroke, which is fine because we'll set all this when we put it back together. Let's take the timing chain sprocket loose, Allen's, some Loctite on them. orange Loctite. I haven't seen orange. Okay, now I gotta rotate the engine over to get the other ones. Oh, there it went. A lot of cam spring pressure, oh my god. Alright, let's pull the cams out here in a crisscrossing pattern. Cams look good. Okay, I'm just going to put these sprockets back on. It says intake and exhaust on both of them, so I'm assuming since this is the exhaust or the intake cam, we need to put this in the intake hole. Alright, get these head bolts out now. These are 8mm Allen. Oh, they're in there tight. Also doing a crisscross here. This is a lot easier to do when the engine's bolted in the frame, I'll tell you that. And make sure we collect these washers out of here. Alright, let's see what kind of magic hides behind this cylinder head here. Do we have any other little bolts? Sometimes there's little bolts off to the side. Yeah, there they are. There's the 2 little bolts inside. See, there's usually always 2 other ones. I'm not a Kawasaki expert, in case you were wondering. She's a long one. See, that chain guide's gonna get me. And gasket looks good. There's another chain tensioner there. I didn't realize that. Alright, this is a 17. Okay, there's a little washer at the end. And then a spring. So the washer's inside the cup there, inside the bolt. Come out of there like that with the fat end down. There's a little pocket it sits into down in here. Oh, there's a coolant hose. Forgot about that sucker. Let's go ahead and take it all the way off of here. Hopefully there's no coolant in it. And there is. Cylinder looks excellent. I think I'm going to leave the piston connected rather than take that out of there, because I don't have new wrist pin retainer clips, and I could lose one or they may not spring back. I think I'm just going to leave the piston on since I'm not doing a top end job on this. Top end looks beautiful. I just got to replace this case, so I think I'm just going to stuff a rag around this just to keep it from rattling around, and continue to take the bottom end apart. If you've not gotten one of these yet, these are handiest tools. Not even tight. Another little bit longer bolt. Okay, you said you had a real short bolt and then a long bolt, and the rest of these are the same. Okay, there's the shifter spring mechanism, and there's a washer right there, so don't lose that. Alright, I'm just going to try to get this thing in first gear here, or sixth, or wherever it is. I got to loosen this Allen bolt, so I want it all the way that way. I think that's it right there. It's probably sixth or fifth, whatever this one's got. I gotta swap the detent roller and spring over to the other case, so I gotta take this out. There's another washer on the bottom, so it would go there. Sweet. Okay, there's a locating pin. There's a hole in this and a pin in this. Now it just looks like I need to pull all the case bolts out and try to lift this up off of everything else. Alright, so here's the case splitter tool. I'll get you the information for this. I don't have it right on hand just this minute. It comes with these long threaded rods to thread into the case. It comes with two different sizes. We need the smaller size for this motor, so I'm going to take the bigger ones out, set them away. And then this side, we need to thread these. We need to find 3 places that are evenly spaced on this case, right above the crankshaft. Probably right there, there, and there. And then we take these and thread those into those holes. Now we take these nuts off the top. Don't drop anything in the motor. Take these off. And then these ones here will adjust the height that we need, because we want this to pull up straight up, not off to the side. Another thing, this tool is going to push on the crankshaft with this bolt here, and I don't like to force right on the crankshaft, so I'm going to use this as a shim bucket from another engine. So I'm going to put that on there with a little bit of grease. And that should help protect the crankshaft. And I'm going to bring these nuts down till we just look square. It don't have to be perfect. This one would probably make more sense. It's got this alignment dowel in there. I'm going to take this out. We'll move this one to the bottom. There we go. That looks a lot more evenly spaced. Now to get close on this, you can count the threads here. So equal amount of threads will get you pretty square. Okay, that looks good. We're going to center that over the crankshaft and snug this down. So just run the other 3 bolts down on top and tighten them up nice and tight. Make sure this is centered over the crankshaft, and then this tool is ready to go. Make sure you look real careful that you have all the bolts out. Look in here, look in here. Make sure all the bolts out, because you don't want to have a bolt hanging you up while you're taking this thing apart. Here's another tip. Oil these threads. This will just help everything glide. Now, you don't have to do this, but it helps. I'm just going to take my torch. I'm just going to heat right here around the bearing. Alright, so I heated that up to where it's just not quite comfortable to keep your fingers on there for very long. And I'm just going to put some pressure on the crank here. And the rubber mallet, and start tapping. We're going to break this gasket seal. You heard the sound change, that means it's starting to come loose. Looks like there's a pry point right there. Another pry point right here. It's just a tiny little slot you can get a screwdriver in. So if you look real close where this engine mount boss is, there's right there you can get a screwdriver in. Same goes for right here. You don't want to put a screwdriver in here because that's where the gasket has to seal. But if you are going to do it, on the outside of the engine mount boss is the best place to pry from, not in here. There's like a lip right there. Now we're fighting the alignment dowel pins. I'm going to reach down in here and hit the inside of this side of the case. Try to get some separation here. There, it's starting to separate. Just going to use a razor blade to wedge in at this boss here. I'm going to heat it back up, keep trying. Well, unfortunately I didn't have the camera on, but as I was heating this up, the bearing finally slipped out of the case. Now it's moving up. So I just had to heat that up enough. I had pressure on this. I wish I could have got it on camera, but it just popped. So I'm just going to keep tapping. Keep jiggling. Keep prying. You want this whole case to come up evenly. I'm going to tap that shaft down. I'm trying to leave the transmission and everything intact on the other side of the case. I'm trying to leave the bearing on the crankshaft. As far as temperature goes, it's hot enough that you don't want to leave your fingers on it. I think we're clear of everything, just need to pull it off the bearing now. This side's got something hung up on it. The output shaft was holding it. Okay, I think it's off the bearing. Just got to get this output shaft through the hole. It's hot. I'm going to let this thing cool off a little bit. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and take the tool off of here. It worked out nice, no damage to the crankshaft. And there's our engine case. Looks like I'm going to need a O-ring for that right there. It looks like it peeled the O-ring off when I pulled it apart. So I'll have have to find a replacement for that. And now it's just a matter of cleaning up all this old gasket stuff and douche out the inside of the motor and check a few things out. Let's see, let me find something to catch this oil in. Just dump this goo out here. Make sure none of the gears fall out. Let me really get you guys in here just in case you come to this video because you got this far and you couldn't figure out how the transmission went together. So you got a washer there. This gear can just fall right off. It's got a bevel on the inside. One of the shift forks or shift dogs. I think this thing's in 6th gear right at the moment. So it looks like down in there. So a little camera shot helps you out. Give me a thumbs up. It's going to be unrealistic to try to get all the old silicone gasket out of here. Just get what you can. Main thing is just make sure it's off this surface. If it's down on the sides or whatever, as long as it's not sticking up like right there, don't sweat it too much. I've noticed something about using these razor blades is scrape, especially aluminum, that one side has a burr and the other side doesn't. So one side scrapes smoother than the other. For these Stanley ones, it's the side that the Stanley logo's up. I just leave that up. And it seems to scrape nice and smooth. If I flip it over, it wants to bite. Or if you've got the money for a carbide super scraper, go ahead and use that too. Battery's about to die. I got this motor propped up in such a way that hopefully everything runs out into this lid. And try to spray all the sludge out of here. Yeah, it looks a lot better in there. What's this? Oh, there's a broken tooth in there. Ruh-roh. That is a broken gear tooth. Where did that come off of? It's not the transmission, that's somewhere on the clutch side. Well, that's fun to find out. Wonder where that came from. Well, I'm not sure which gear has the missing tooth. It doesn't look like any of the transmission gears. It don't even look big enough to be one of the transmission gears. Ooh, do I see the broken gear? Might see it. I'll be damned, right there it is. I don't know if I can get you guys in there to see that or not. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's not this gear, the one just below it, back in there. That tooth meshes with this gear here. It's very hard to see. Right there, that tooth is broke off. You see that? Let me see if I can turn the engine. See that tooth right behind that one that just popped up? Right there, that tooth is broke off. Right there. It's on the other end of this shaft.